why you can't forget her, and what it actually means. You don't talk anymore. Not with her. Not about her. Weeks have passed. Maybe months. No texts, no calls. And yet there she is every morning, every night. Not on your screen, not in your inbox, but in your mind. And here's the part that eats at you. You don't even want her back. Not really. You've tried to move on. You've told yourself I'm fine. But in those quiet moments when the noise fades and the world slows, her face shows up again. Not because you miss her, but because something still feels unfinished. That silence between you two. It's louder than any argument, heavier than any goodbye, and it follows you, into work, into your workouts, into your sleep. And I know you're tired of holding your breath, tired of wondering why she still takes up space in your mind when she's not in your life, tired of pretending it doesn't bother you. This isn't just about heartbreak. This is about confusion, identity, the ghost of a man you were trying to become. This message is for you, not the version of you who wants her back, but the one who wants himself back. And maybe for the first time, understand what that silence actually means. It was never about her. It was always about you. Let's get something straight. You're not stuck because she was the one. You're stuck because you don't know why you still feel like you're not enough. This isn't heartbreak. Not in the traditional sense. This is something quieter, more dangerous. It's insecurity, the kind you buried under ambition, under achievement, under the, "I've got this mask you wear so well." She didn't leave because you weren't smart, attractive, or successful. She left because something inside you never let her all the way in. And whether you admit it or not, a part of you never felt safe. Not with her, not with intimacy, not with being seen. You were performing, not connecting. You were trying to win her approval instead of resting in your own value. And she felt it. Women always do. She saw the subtle shift in your energy, the way your compliments started sounding like bargains, the way you gave more than you had not, from overflow but from fear. Fear that she'd wake up one day and realize you weren't enough, so you pushed, you tried harder, you smiled wider, worked more, stayed cool, but you were never grounded. And she could feel that instability even when you said all the right things. She wasn't looking for perfection. She was looking for presence. But presence can't be faked. And when it's missing, no amount of effort can replace it. So eventually, she left. And that wound she left behind. It wasn't about missing her. It was about the echo of a truth you've been avoiding. That deep down, you still don't fully believe you're worthy as you are. That her love felt like a loophole, like someone finally saw value in you before you did. And now that she's gone, you're left with the silence. Not just between the two of you, but inside yourself. And that's where the real work begins. Because healing isn't about getting her back. It's about meeting the parts of you she unintentionally exposed and finally choosing to face them like a man. You didn't lose her. You lost the man you were becoming. Let's tell the truth. Most men never admit you're not mourning her. You're mourning you. The version of you that felt alive, focused, powerful when she was around. It wasn't just about her eyes, her laugh, her presence. It was what her presence reflected back at you. A man who felt worthy. A man who felt like he was finally becoming something. Because when she looked at you with belief, you stepped up. Not because she made you better, but because you wanted to rise to meet what she saw in you. Her love was a mirror. And for a while you liked what you saw. But here's where it cuts deep. Now that mirror is gone. And what you're left with is doubt. Was that strength even real, or was it just borrowed confidence propped up by her validation? See, she didn't give you power. She revealed it. You were never pretending. You were finally accessing the part of you that had always been waiting to show up. The one who didn't second guess, the one who stood taller, the one who had clarity, drive, hunger. But when she left, all that collapsed. Not because she took it with her, but because you tied your evolution to her gaze. And now you feel hollow. Not because she's gone, but because you don't know how to be that man without her watching. But you have to. You must. Because the version of you that you loved while she was in your life, he wasn't hers. He was yours. You brought him out. You fed him. You gave him momentum. And that means you can do it again. Not for her. Not for revenge. But because you deserve to become the man she only saw a glimpse of. The man you saw in the mirror once before you let it shatter. You were being tested, and you didn't even know it. Here's a truth that'll sting. You were taking a test the entire time, and you didn't even know it. She didn't leave because she stopped loving you. She left because the foundation started cracking. And when a woman senses weakness in that foundation, she pulls back, not always consciously, but instinctively. See, the feminine doesn't respond to performance. It responds to presence, to stability, to grounded energy, to a man who doesn't just say he's ready, but acts like it when pressure shows up. And you weren't leading. You were reacting. You were overthinking every move, trying to keep her instead of elevating the relationship. And that's when the test began. Women test masculine energy not to hurt it, but to reveal it, to measure its depth, not with words, but with silence, distance, mood shifts, emotional waves. She was looking for your core, and what she found was a man who didn't trust himself yet. Not because you were weak, but because you were still learning how to hold your ground under fire. You didn't need to be perfect, you just needed to be anchored. But instead of rising, you flinched. You collapsed inward. You responded emotionally when she needed you steady. And that's the moment the disconnect began. It wasn't sabotage. It wasn't punishment. It was instinct. The same way you feel it in your gut when something's off in business or battle, she felt it in you. So stop romanticizing the past. Stop telling yourself she left for no reason. Because deep down, you felt it too. You knew the energy shifted. You just didn't know what to do about it. Now you do. You failed the test, but not because you weren't good enough. You failed because you weren't prepared to lead. And here's the most important part. You can be now. Because leadership, real masculine grounded leadership, isn't built in comfort. It's forged in the fire of failure. And this time, you won't just take the test. You'll own it. Her leaving wasn't the punishment. It was the wake-up call. Let me be clear, her leaving wasn't the punishment. It was the consequence, the real punishment that started long before she walked out. It began the moment you stopped evolving, when you switched from building to maintaining, when you shifted from momentum to maintenance mode. And here's the thing about masculinity most men never get taught. It isn't sustained by comfort. It thrives in growth, in motion, in challenge. The second you settle, you start to erode. Not immediately, but quietly, subtly, slowly. You weren't growing anymore. You were managing. You were trying to keep her around instead of becoming the man who naturally draws her in. There's a difference. You thought presence meant proximity. That being near her, doing the same routines, showing up in the same way would hold it together. But what she was searching for was direction. She didn't want to feel like you had her. She wanted to feel like you had yourself. And that sense of internal certainty, it started to slip. Not because you didn't care, but because you stopped leading. And leadership isn't about control. It's about evolution. So when the relationship began to stagnate, when the fire turned into flickers, you doubled down on effort but not on growth. You worked harder to keep the connection, but forgot to keep upgrading yourself. And when that happens, a woman can feel it. She may not even be able to explain it, but she feels it in her body. The subtle shift from being led to being dragged, from passion to repetition. So yes, she walked away, but not as punishment. She left because the path stopped moving forward, and she refused to stay where things no longer grew. The failure wasn't losing her. The failure was forgetting that masculinity dies when it becomes stagnant. And the lesson: don't ever slow down your growth just to keep someone. Because the moment you stop moving, you're not just risking the relationship, you're betraying the man you were supposed to become. Your rock bottom wasn't her leaving. It was you abandoning yourself. Let's be honest, her walking away wasn't your lowest point. That wasn't rock bottom. Rock bottom happened before she left. The moment you started betraying your own standards to keep her close. You saw it happening, but you told yourself it was compromise. You told yourself it was love. That giving more, bending more, tolerating more would somehow prove your worth. But it didn't. Because you weren't just giving her more of you. You were giving her less of who you truly are. You lowered your boundaries, you softened your voice. You played small just to avoid conflict, and you told yourself it was strength. But deep down, you knew. You were slipping. You weren't leading anymore. You were negotiating with your own values, watering them down in the name of connection. And that's the part no one talks about. It wasn't her leaving that broke you. It was you abandoning the man you promised you'd be. The one who said he'd never beg. The one who swore he'd never shrink to stay in someone's life. The one who believed he could love without losing his edge. So don't romanticize the breakup. Look closer. You were already gone. The moment you let the mission fade. The moment you silenced your purpose just to keep her comfortable. You traded growth for peace, but peace built on self-betrayal always ends in war. And now, the mission isn't to get her back. It's to get you back. The version of you that held the line. That moved with conviction. That didn't apologize for having direction, drive, and discipline. Because any love that requires you to abandon yourself isn't love, it's a trap. And next time when someone walks away, you won't fall apart. Because this time, you won't have abandoned yourself to keep them. This time, you'll still be standing, unshaken, unapologetic, unbreakable. This isn't about her anymore. It's the second test, and it's with you. Here's what no one tells you. You didn't lose her. You lost you. Not the version that smiles in group photos or shows up at work on time. You lost the man you were becoming when she was in your life. The one who had fire, the one who had direction, the one who started believing he could become more. That version of you. He wasn't a fantasy. He wasn't a facade. He was real. But you stopped feeding him the moment she left. You tied his existence to her presence, to her voice, her belief, her love. And now that she's gone, you think that man is gone too. But he's not. He's buried, waiting. And this is the second test. But this time it's not about winning her back. It's not about being seen. It's not about posting photos she might see or writing captions that sound healed. It's about self-leadership, the kind that doesn't need applause, the kind that doesn't chase closure. Can you rebuild your identity without anyone watching? Can you wake up with fire when no one's cheering you on? Can you step forward without needing someone to walk beside you? That's the real question. Because growth without external validation, that's what separates boys from men. And discipline without an audience, that's where the real power lives. So no, you don't get a do-over with her. But you get something better. You get the truth. You get the chance to become the man who never ties his strength to someone else again. The version of you that she saw potential in, he's yours. You built him. And you can become him again this time, not as a response to love, but as a reflection of who you've chosen to be. The second test has already started, but now you know the rules. This time, you don't need her belief. You just need your own. Reclaiming yourself doesn't start with her. It starts in the silence. Let's drop the fantasy. Healing isn't some peaceful walk in the woods. It's war. A daily battle between the man you were and the man you've been avoiding. And it doesn't begin with a breakthrough. It begins with stillness. Not the silence she gave you, that kind was passive, cold, a void. I'm talking about the silence you choose, the one that strips away every distraction, every notification, every fake sense of progress. Stillness is where the noise dies and the truth starts to speak. And what does that truth say? It says the man she saw inside you, he didn't disappear when she walked away. He faded because you stopped feeding him. He starved from your avoidance, from your scrolling, from your excuses, from your belief that time alone would somehow fix everything. If you want him back, you have to earn him. Start by writing, not for others, not for validation. Write for truth. What you fear, what you lost, what you're pretending not to feel. Then train. Move your body like it owes you something. Push weight until your mind breaks, then do one more rep. Because every drop of sweat, every ache, every set you finish when you didn't want to even start, that's not fitness. That's a declaration. I'm back, and delete. Cut the vices, the habits, the fake connections. Anything that numbs you, it weakens you. Reclaiming yourself isn't about feeling better. It's about becoming someone who doesn't need to recover next time because he never fell off in the first place. You don't get back to who you were. You build forward into someone new, someone cleaner, stronger, clearer, someone whose power isn't tied to being loved but to being disciplined. Stillness is the forge, truth is the hammer, and effort, consistent, deliberate effort is the fire. Now start building, because no one's coming to save you, but the man you were born to become, he's still waiting on you to show up. You weren't addicted to her. You were addicted to the man you thought you were becoming. Here's the truth most men never say out loud. You weren't addicted to her. You were addicted to who you thought you could be when she was looking. It wasn't just about her laugh, her body, her attention. It was the feeling she gave you that you were finally becoming someone strong, focused, desired, capable. You felt purpose in your chest again, like something was aligning. And every time she looked at you with belief, you believed in yourself a little more. But here's the trap. It wasn't her you were chasing. It was the version of you that only seemed to show up when she was around. The fantasy of finally being enough. And let's be honest, that high, that quiet dopamine hit of maybe this is it, it's addictive. Because for once you weren't just living, you were rising. But here's the burn. If the only time you feel powerful is when a woman sees it in you, you were never in power to begin with. Because any man who relies on a woman's gaze to access his greatness has already given it away. You don't need her presence to become that man. You need discipline, you need clarity, you need ownership. She didn't give you that strength, she just reflected it. And when she left, it didn't vanish. It just got quiet. So no, the goal isn't to recapture who you were with her. That version of you was incomplete, because he depended on something external to stay alive. The goal now is to become someone so grounded, so whole, so driven by inner fire that no relationship defines you. That the next time someone walks away, you don't collapse. You ascend. Because your power doesn't live in her eyes. It lives in your choices. And the man you're building now, he doesn't disappear when love does. He grows anyway. This was never about revenge. It's about redemption. Let's clear something up. If you're still trying to glow up just so she sees it, you've already lost. Because if she's still the reason behind your discipline, your ambition, your grind, then she still owns the steering wheel of your life, even if she's not in it anymore. This isn't about making her regret. This is about making sure you never regret you again. Revenge. That's short-term fuel. It burns fast. And then what you're left staring at your reflection, still wondering why you gave her that much power in the first place. See, forgetting her isn't strength. That's forced. That's childish. Real power is in remembering who you were becoming. Not when things were perfect, but when you were fighting for purpose. Her memory, it's not a curse, it's a compass. A reminder of what you almost became before you let it all fade. And if you're man enough to face that truth, to sit in that discomfort without blaming her, without running from it, then you're already on your way back. Because she wasn't the prize. She was the mirror, the reflection, the spark that lit something inside you. But that fire that was yours, and it still is. So stop trying to bury the memory. Use it. Let it point you back toward the version of you who had direction, who woke up hungry, who led with conviction instead of chasing affection. That man is not gone. He's just waiting for you to stop chasing ghosts and start reclaiming your own legacy. You were never trying to get her back. You were trying to get you back. And now you're finally ready to finish what you started. She wasn't the message. You are. In the end, it was never about her. She was never the point. You were, and still are. So stop mourning her. Start mourning the life you stopped chasing, the discipline you dropped, the edge you dulled, the fire you let flicker because you tied your momentum to her presence. You've got two choices now. Let the lesson rot, or let it rebuild you. Because this isn't about heartbreak anymore. It's about rebirth. It's not about moving on, it's about rising up. And not for revenge, not for anyone watching, but for the man who knew deep down he was never meant to stay broken. So pick up the pieces, sharpen them, forge a weapon out of what once cut you, because the real closure, it isn't her text. It isn't her apology. It's the man you become after she's gone. You are the message. You are the comeback. You are the proof that silence isn't the end. It's the beginning of a man who refuses to stay soft. Now go become the man she couldn't hold. Not because you needed to prove anything, but because you finally remembered who you are.